ask me that all the time, like, yo, Kel, if you could go back and tell your younger self something, and it's just like, for me, everything that I went through was a lesson. You know what I mean? It's all lessons. And when you look at it like that, it's like, okay, yeah, I can get through this. I can get through this. Yeah.
Let's go back to your childhood a little bit, man. And grew up on the south side of Chicago.
Hey.
First of all, how was that? And how did you make the transition from growing up to the south side of Chicago to all of that?
Yeah, man, I grew up on the south side of Chi. You know what I mean? I love Chicago. A lot of great art out there, a lot of great people. I was a b-boy as well. You know what I mean? I was into a lot of hip hop. I was a graffiti artist as well. Okay. You know, I put, you know, I was bombing the trains, all that stuff. And so I breakdanced and all those different things. And so hip hop was a big thing that really helped me in my life, as far as like, because, you know, it was gang banging out there too. I grew up on the south side. So there was a lot of gang banging. You know, I had, you know, friends that were gang banging, and then I had friends that were going to church. So I had the church, and then I also, you know, had seen the gang world, you know, too. But hip hop was something that really, like, I really gravitated towards, and I, you know, got with that crew instead of, like, you know, gang banging and things like that. And the church was also helping me as well, because, you know, my parents made sure I stayed with that. But yeah, in the Chi, man, another thing that really helped me out was getting into acting. You know, that was a big one. You know, getting into acting. It was a community theater in Chicago. And my parents were like, okay, he's getting to that age where it's like he's getting in trouble in school. You know, he's a class clown, and he got friends in all different directions. We want to make sure he has a good outlet. So they tried everything, man. They tried, like, you know, playing the guitar, you know, all these different activities, you know, football, all this different stuff. And what really stuck was me doing theater. And I did it for one summer, and I fell in love with the art of acting. It was like, yo, this is it right here. This is what I've been, like, waiting for. And it was a good, like, outlet for me. So it was more of an outlet. I didn't look at it like, oh, yo, I'm about to be on TV. You know what I mean? I didn't look at it like that, or like I'm trying to do this. It was like a good outlet. And that's why I always, like, support community theater, the arts, you know, the youth, doing something positive within the community, because it really definitely helped me. And yeah, man, I just started doing plays at night. So I wasn't acting up in school as much, because I was literally acting with adults, putting on, like, actual plays after school, drama plays. I know I've been in the comedy, but yeah, I was doing that, and just fell in love with it, and then ended up doing work in downtown Chicago. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you were in New York, that's like equivalent to, like, doing stuff on Broadway. You know what I mean? So I was started doing theater in you know, downtown at Victory Gardens Theater, Goodman Theater, and stuff like that. And was making a name for myself in theater, and I got an agent. And yeah, actually, my first job, I modeled for Captain Crunch, which was kind of, you know, I tell people I was a model first, but but yeah, man, that was fun. That was a great moment for me. And then a lot of auditions. So shout out to the parents that have kids that want to act and things like that, because my parents were very supportive with taking me on these auditions, and you win some, you lose some. You know what I mean? A lot of doors, you know, got closed, but it's like one door gets shut, another one opens. You know what I mean? And so, you know, all that came along, and it was sketch comedy, and it was literally like, go up in there and make them laugh, you know? And I literally walked in the room, and I was in high school at this point. So I always tell people, when I got on TV, it was time to get a job anyway. So I was in high school, and yeah, man, I just did a whole bunch of impersonations in the room, but I did people like that I saw on the, you know, on the L train, and, you know, my uncles and all this stuff. Like, I did Ed in the room. You know what I mean? I was just like all these characters, man, and just they gravitated towards it, man. Yeah.
All that at the time, I know we were kids, but Nick at Night was shit. We had Doug, you had Rugrats, all that. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah. It was dope. And all that in particular reminded me of In Living Color years before. Yeah. Just with children, you know what I'm saying? And it was very relatable to us, because you got Keenan, you got brothers on there, and there's somebody that we could look at and go, damn, we can identify with that. So we automatically went and gravitated towards you two. How was that? Did you understand at the time what kind of cultural impact you were making with that show? Because even from the music, it was really hip hop influenced, and you really inspired a lot of brothers and sisters out there growing up.
Yeah, man. It was like, when we were doing it, it was like we were just kids having fun, because at the beginning it was just supposed to be a special. It wasn't even supposed to be a series. So they were doing it as a special to see what happened, because at the time on Nickelodeon, they didn't even know that they wanted to go into this direction. And I'm happy you said In Living Color, because a lot of people, like compare it to SNL, which is true to format, but we really were very close to In Living Color.
Word.
You know what I mean? Because of especially the musical guests and stuff like that we had on. And at the time I was rapping too as well. I had my group, so that was cool. They let us perform on there. But to answer your question, after a while, we really did start to see that, because we were just like, it's very diverse show. You know what I mean? We had Puerto Ricans on the show, blacks on the show. It was awesome. And then, I grew up in a very pro-black family. So, we knew immediately, like, okay, you're a role model. You know what I mean? Already. You know what I mean? So, Kel, how you go into everything and how you answer in these interviews, and, just know the kids are looking at you. And for me, it was like, man, I'm doing this for my city. I'm doing this for the South Side of Chicago. And it's been awesome. Like, even to this day, for people to still be loving Good Burger. Like, I just saw a kid that went viral. He's 5 years old and had a Good Burger party, you know what I mean, in Atlanta. And I mean, he wasn't even born when that word up. You know what I mean? But he's sitting there, welcome to Good Burger, the whole thing, and the whole family's there. So it's been a blessing and an amazing ride. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Now that was so successful. All that Good Burger came out of that. Talk about that, them taking one segment and making a movie and having success with the movie, Good Burger.
Yeah, man. So with that, like I said, I did the Ed voice in the audition in Chicago. And then, when we went and auditioned in LA and had to just do all these different characters, and they were like, yo, we want to take that voice and put it in something. So they put it in like this sketch called Dream Remote, where it was me and Josh. And he had a remote control that could control his parents and stuff. So he had a pizza come really, really fast. And I came to the door and I was like, yo, here's your pizza. And so I used the voice finally, and they were like, yo, we need to do something with that. And then the writers, they sat down and changed it into Good Burger. So it wasn't a pizza place anymore. And they really gave Ed a whole entire world. And that was the sketch where every musical guest was there. It was a cool way to introduce the guest for that night. Everybody started being in those sketches. It kind of really took off. We did the All That and More soundtrack. Shout out to that, because I ended up being on the Billboard charts with that. I had a song with Shorter at the time. So that was bomb. And so that was cool. And it just took off. And then they were like, yo, let's do a movie for Good Burger. And Keenan had already done Mighty Ducks and stuff like that. So he already had movies even before all that started. Right. And so for me, this was my big film, you know what I mean? I had done some independent stuff, but this was really big. So I was super excited about it. It was dope, and to do the movie and have all those people in it, you know what I mean? It was Parliament and, you know what I mean, Shaq, and just it was off the chain. Yeah.
Now, all of the success was great, but did you ever have a point in time where it got frustrating, kind of almost being typecasted, or where you felt like you were typecasted as Ed as the years went on?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if it was more of typecasting or more of adulting, at that time. Because what happens is that they see you as a young actor, and then there's a time where they start looking and they're going, okay, well, because this role is so iconic and all this stuff is so iconic, it's I can't see him older, and I still look young. You know what I'm saying? So it was I was trying to go out for the dramatic roles, or I was trying to go out for, a different type of role, and they were just oh no, you're too young, or you still look like Nickelodeon. You know what I mean? So that did happen at times. But, I feel like you always have to still stay creative, stay creative throughout it. You know what I mean? One thing that I did was that even when all that stopped and Keenan and Kel stopped, there was a time where it was okay, what's my next move? Me and Keenan were both thinking that. And we were okay, what's the next move? Kind of looking at it like chess. And the thing about it was, I remember Marlon Wayans had told me, he was yo, if they don't want to give you the roles, you do it yourself. You start writing your own stuff. I mean, I respected In Living Color, and, all these just, Robert Townsend and all these amazing people. that I was like, yo, yeah, they wrote this stuff themselves. They put it out themselves. So I started putting out my own things. Back when DVDs were popping, I started writing my own films and putting out my own sketches and stuff like that, and putting out my own DVDs, and it was taking off. And so I thank God for those times, because it's like, you know, you get the progress and the abundance through the struggle. You know what I mean? So as you're sitting there trying to figure out what the next move, you know, these amazing things happened out of it. So that's, you know, piggyback to what I was talking about with those ups and downs.
Right.
You know what I mean? You learn from it. It's a lesson. So, and that spawned me being a director, me directing music videos, me directing, doing plays, and all this stuff that I started to do, and becoming a writer. So, yeah, man, you just kind of got to look at it like a lesson. This is a marathon as far as like this career, and life is that
right.
too as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah,
I want to get to how you found your faith as well, because I know you were telling a story about pretty much hitting a rock bottom, you know, in your life after all this success. Can you take us back through that and your issues with your wife and almost being broke to going, you know, to getting a call from somebody that took you into your faith?
Yeah. Okay. Well, you kind of mashed that all up into one, but yeah. There's a thing where I feel like we put up emotional walls, right? So throughout life, you know what I mean? Like, it's a whole bunch of things that you go through, and I went through a lot. You know, like as you see through the entertainment business, there was a time where I was trying to like figure out, okay, does this person like me for me? Are they my friend for this? Or is it just because I'm on television? And trying to really find your place in the entertainment business, and finding your place as you're adulting while you're on television at the same time. And then there's past things that you haven't dealt with in your life as well. So I went through, you know, suicide, and I went through, substance abuse, and I went through a divorce, and all those different things. You know what I mean? And so, but within that, that's what I'm talking about. Like within that and within those times, these were lessons for me. And so I ended up going back to my faith that was already introduced to me at a young age, because my parents kept me in the church. Right. And it was literally like I went back to the Lord at that point. You know what I mean? I'm not going to take myself out of here because of the mistakes that I had made in life, or the things that were going on in life that were stressful, where I felt like the whole all this different stress that I was feeling. And I was just trying to find like an end to it. Like, how can I get through this, Lord? Like, how can I get through all this suffering? And the Lord is like, you don't even know what I have for you up ahead. You just have to endure. You know what I mean? You have to endure through it all. And when you're going through tough times, man, when you're going through tough times and you're going through tough things, within those times, you're really asking yourself like, man, why me? But I know why I went through the tough things that I went through, because now I could be a testimony to others. There's so many brothers that I've helped. You know, I've talked to juvie homes. I've talked to, youth. I've talked to brothers in high school. You know, I went back to Chicago, talked to people there. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I understand why I had to go through all the things that I went through so I could help others. You know, I'm one of those people where it's like, you know, I want to tell my story, and want to be also, when I'm praying for someone or being around someone, I can help them, because